7 Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
Welcome to the Heat versus the World podcast. And now, stand up and make some noise for your host, Joel Jacob.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Heat vs. the World podcast. Like always, I'm your host, Joel, and with me, I got my guys, Kev and Kay. And man, we feeling good because the Heat are coming off another win last night against New York. And anytime we beat the Knicks, it feels like a really good time, man. Because I'm not going to repeat the quote because, got some, words in there. But you know what? What's that exact quote? Is it F the Knicks, F the Yankees, let's see.
The Mets, the Rangers, Syracuse, the Bills.
Yes,
all
sir.
them.
Yeah,
All them.
so I won't say the word because we keep it PG around here, but it's always gonna be screw all of them, man. So I'm really happy about that. And to all y'all Knicks fans that came into that building yesterday and was trying to make some noise, I hope y'all burn in hell. All right, y'all was pissing me off. No, because they had me teed off yesterday because I was watching the end of that game and I see Davion Mitchell at the free throw line, shoots them 2 free throws, misses the first one, and the fans are here cheering and stuff. And I got friends who don't keep up with this stuff with the fans and stuff. So I got people in group chats being like, "Why are the fans cheering that he missed the free throw?" And I had to mention that it's because they got a lot of Knicks fans there. A whole bunch of rats just infested the Heat arena. So hopefully they disinfected the place yesterday. I'm sorry to the Heat fans that had to expose themselves to whatever diseases them Knicks fans had on them. Make sure y'all get y'all shots because who knows what be infested in them people. So overall, I'm good, man. We winning. We out here. We cooking right now. And listen, we 8-6, but y'all look at this conference right now. Listen, I feel good, okay? And this is our first pod since, the season has started and everything, since these 14 games have taken place. So I just want to know from y'all, how are we feeling? How do we feel about this squad? I don't know if it's just because of this win, but honestly, I feel great about this team. Could we improve on some things? Of course. But I want to hear from y'all, and we'll start off with you, Kev. How you feel?
Man, I think the vibes are high right now, to be honest with you. I think they playing an overall great brand of basketball on both ends of the floor, really. I know everybody's kind of ecstatic about our offense because it's an entirely new dynamic, but I think when you look at what the Pacers did last year by getting up and down, playing fast, moving the ball, being unselfish, I think that's how basketball should be played, to be honest with you. So you could tell Spo was definitely watching, just like the rest of the league was. Everybody does. It's a copycat league. I don't think it's necessarily the exact same thing because we don't really have the point guard that Hallie is, but nonetheless, I just think that overall, you look at Norman Powell, bro, every game, super efficient, super effective. He's taking shots, within the flow of the offense. He's not forcing nothing crazy. I think you're getting great production from your front court as a whole between Bam, Khalil, and everybody else. I know, Bam just got hurt and Khalil's kind of been inconsistent a little bit, but I like how Khalil's responded every time he's had bad moments. And then after that, you look at our backcourt too, especially without Tyler so far. I just mentioned Norm, but Davion's been solid. I gave him a lot of flack, but I started to think that he's confident. He's, sure of himself in his role. He's being aggressive. He's doing everything that they need him to do, and he's living up to his contract so far and more. And then overall, I like where the team is at. I believe that we're 2-1 versus the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a pretty good job of just holding down home court for the most part too. And then, I'll kind of just land my plane on this one by saying, shout out to my boy Juan Wick, as Kay gave him the nickname. SoCal native. I've always been a believer since he was in high school. I think last year, the uncertainty with the whole Jimmy situation and then, just not knowing your role on a given, night and game was kind of just, hurt him a little bit. But I think now that he knows exactly who he is and what his role is on this team, he's essentially just taking off and he's not looking back, whatsoever. I think he's a key cog on what we're building. And then I'll finish by saying Andrew Wiggins too, because Wiggs, you really never know what you're going to get on a night-to-night basis, but I will say his defense is a constant, right? I think you can throw him on the other team's best guard or wing on a night-to-night basis, and you're fine, living with that. Offensively, if he can give you a little bit more consistency on that end, I think it takes us to an even different level. But overall, I think the Miami Heat are in a great place right now.
Right. I mean, and I love the fact that you were able to mention so many names in there. Like you mentioned Jaime, you mentioned Norman. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
Wiggins. Yeah,
Wiggs, Wiggs.
Wiggins. Yeah. Because like my thing with Wiggins, bro, is like I know everyone's been kind of stressed with him, especially because of the guy that we gave up to get him. Right. We gave up none other than Jimmy Butler, who we're gonna talk about later on in this episode. And my thing with Wiggins is that you kind of hit it on the nose, Kev. Like when it comes to Wiggins, we don't know exactly what we might get on him on a night-to-night basis from the offensive end. But like the defense is always going to be there. And shout outs to him, by the way, because we never got a chance to pod after that, huge play against Cleveland. But man, that dunk at the end of that game, bro, like it's moments like that where I feel good seeing Wiggs go out there and take the floor because I think he just seems more happy here in Miami compared to when he first got here. Like I know a lot of people were hitting on that in social media, the fact that when he first got here, like he was there, but like there wasn't like some type of enthusiasm, right? Like it just didn't seem present when he first touched down in Miami. But this year we're seeing him smile more. It just feels like the vibes are just back, not only for the squad, but you can see like the fact that Wiggs is just happy to wear that Miami Heat jersey. So I'm really happy to see that. And Kay, what about you?
I mean, to Kev's point, I mean the vibes are high is a perfect way to describe it. What they got going on both sides of the floor, playing with pace, getting to easier shots, not making the game hard, maximizing all the pieces they got. I think they're in a very good place. And as we both know, we're going to get to it, but not to step on those toes, but it's only going to improve once you add back more talent to that mix. And what you love to see about the whole situation is not only does it lean into the skill set. So your best player, of course, you mentioned Bam being on the floor some already, and Tyler hasn't, but it actually accentuates their skill set. The more wide open positional is grab it and go, put you in one-on-one ISO is actually where you would like to see Bam when it comes to him versus other bigs. And also where you would like to see Tyler, like just that isolation, pace style, and them being able to control the game from outright, not only from a perspective of dictating what the other offense is going to do, which is traditionally how they've done it or look to control games, but now they're able to set themselves up to easily do that while also putting up points. So it's just a very conducive situation to one another. I like what they got going on. We've been talking about it since, I would say the off season. I don't know if we've potted that much, but whenever we've been public or talked about in our private chats, how it's so wide open on the East. I think that they have a chance to, be right in the mix.
Right. And I mean, you look at the standings right now. I mean, the number one team is Detroit, and shout outs to them. Like, it's good to see them succeed after the craziness they've been through these last couple years. But I mean, if Detroit is number one, I think that alone tells you where the East is at right now. Because I looked at the Pistons schedule, and they've had some easy games here and there. Shout outs to Duncan, by the way. But yeah, like that squad as a whole, I mean, if they're able to be the number one team, then you look at where the Heat stand. I don't think they're a top four team right now, but that's because it's like a 10-way tie for that current record the Heat have, which is 8-6.
Right.
So,
there's no unbeatable team. And I would say 1 through probably like 8 or 9 is probably like equal right now in the East. Like there really ain't no difference because the numbers so close and everybody been beating everybody.
exactly.
But nobody's unbeatable in the East.
Yeah. Like, that's just the thing. Like, we mentioned Detroit. New York is really concerning because, first of all, they lost last night. And if y'all don't know, the Knicks have not won a road game yet this season, which is insane to think about. Like,
What do you mean concerning? You mean like a concerning
I'm
team
talking
based
about
on
for
the
them.
forecast?
Like,
Oh, okay.
like
I get what you're
drawing
saying.
down.
Concern
Like,
based on what people thought they should be, predicting them to win the East before a dribble was made or a tip was tipped. I got you. Pause. That's crazy.
yeah, because like I was just like, no, because the fact that they have not won a game is crazy. I thought that was just that the what's it called? The stat was just mixed up in a way.
They 0-4 on the road and we 4-0 at home. I think that's some. Ain't that what it is?
Probably. Yeah.
That's good.
So
That's what I like to
that's
hear.
just
I thought we
crazy.
dropped that Cleveland game though.
Was
Oh
that?
yeah, we did.
That was at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without Mitch, Marlon, and Mobley in them. I think that was the one loss though.
True.
And that sucked, by the way. And you know what? I don't want to dive into the negatives because we got some good vibes going on right now. But man, to lose to Donovan, to lose to a team that didn't have Donovan, no Mobley and no Darius Garland, man, it's kind of sad. But it is what it is, bro.
I
But
wasn't
like,
that upset at the loss. I mean, you want them to win that game, but honestly, it's the game that the Miami Heat typically lose, and not that we trying to stick with norms, but it's a game they typically lose. But it also gives Spo it's great teaching tape. Nobody was happier. Nobody was more mad and happy at the same time after that game than Spo, because he know he got a good situation, but it gives him, like, if the vibes are, how like me and Kev have insinuated, which they are, and everybody can see what's going on. This Miami Heat team is different, consistently scoring 80, 100 points in the third period. But this gives Spo a reason to, quite frankly, excuse my French curse button, kick him in the ass. And that's what you need when everybody's, having a chance to smell their own tail, because like this team is succeeding at a high level, especially I guess in comparison to where they were at the end of last year, what we've seen traditionally over the course of the last 3-4 years with the more slow down, trudgy, pick and roll, dribble handoff based offense, and where people thought they'd be coming into the season. It was the perfect opportunity for Spo to put foot to foot, and it's all good. Not a great loss, of course, but teachable moments. I'm okay with it, because they look, when the team was whole a previous night, they were beaten, and you don't want to lose the game, especially in that moment. But yeah, like I said earlier, to that point, they can be beat, and we've shown it.
And I just, the fact that you mentioned Spo, and real quick before we dive into this next topic, I mean, shout outs to him, by the way. Prayers up as well, because as we know, this hasn't been exactly the most ideal start to the season in regards to his own personal matters. To him and his family after Spo losing his house after that game in Denver. Prayers up to him and his whole family, but. Man, like when it comes to Spo, the dude has reinvented himself this year, man. Like shout out to that whole, coaching staff, because you see what the Heat have been able to do, what they've been able to cook for these games. And we could talk about, what we've seen from Spo, but also this coaching staff too, because we talked about that Cleveland game, specifically the one where Wiggs had that game-winning dunk. That was cooked up by Chris Quinn, right? So you got, assistant, being able to whip up what ended up being the game-winning play. And then not only that, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy we got from Memphis, the coach from there, Noah LaRoche.
Is it LaRoche?
LaRoche, okay. We got him from Memphis because Ja wasn't liking the offense they had over there. So he comes to Miami and helps, play a big role in putting this together. And you see how we're thriving, right? Because I'm looking at this team, specifically that second game. I think it was against Memphis. And they go out and they score 140-some points, 80-something points in the first half. Who is this Miami Heat team, bro? Like, y'all told me that they was just going to come in here. And the thing is, it's not even the first time they did that. No, it wouldn't end up being the last time they would end up doing this, because then they scored 140-something against Charlotte. I'm pretty sure they did it against Cleveland, the Andrew Wiggins game winner. Like, they're just now putting up these high numbers that we wouldn't think they'd be able to put up a year ago. Like, I'm just so happy with this squad, and I just want to give big ups to, like, this coaching staff as a whole. And before we go into this next topic, is there anything else y'all want to say?
Yeah, I'd say to add on to what I opened up with, I'd say two names that have definitely impressed me are Pele Larson and Simone Fontecchio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, me personally, I didn't really have high expectations for
Dang,
Fontecchio.
Kev, we ain't got to that topic yet. Jeez Louise, just say all of them.
Nah. That's not. I trust me. I got mine in the bag. But let me just say.
I mean, but what about mine? What about mine?
Okay, all right. So let me just hit on Fontecchio. Let me just hit on Fontecchio, because I know you're gonna talk about Pele. I've been really impressed by Fontecchio because, again, I had really no expectations.
I could have talked about him too. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I told y'all boys in the group chat, don't write that off as a throw-in. I told y'all wrote it off as a throw-in.
I know where you're going though, but as far as Fontecchio, again, me personally, I thought it was gonna be, I won't say tough to find another knockdown shooter like Duncan, because again, I feel like Duncan's role fluctuated too much. I think he kind of lost confidence. I think his game kind of reverted back to some old ways based on what was happening. But Fontecchio, man, is just super solid, bro. And he's we
needed a different type of movement shooter for where we were going than what Duncan was. Duncan works when you got a guy like Cade, who is Kate, and and not to go too far, but to your point, Kev, Kate is a very unique guy. And not specifically playing like to your point earlier where you brought up the Pacers, which is interesting because the Pacers run more of an inverted, like semi-motion. They go from triangle to motion mid offense last year. Like they'll get down and almost high-lowish. They run like 3 offenses in one, depending on the pace. But Halliburton trigger it all because you could be that baseline action with Pascal, or you could have when they had Miles, he'll crash down from the top, and that creates your high-low with Hallie at the top. But then you in constant motion. Okay, to that point. The Pacers on one extreme with all that pace, and then you got Jimmy's heat on the other extreme. K lives in the middle consistently, and it's a very interesting case. It's like his game is like it's almost 50-50, and his team reads him well when he's gonna mash it and go all the way and when he's gonna stop. And I think that Duncan fits that more as opposed to where you want to go with this offense, to your point, Kev, like a Fontecchio who never seen a shot he don't like. Who will take it off, for instance, and who can create his own space with minimal dribbles, just perfect. Not to cut you off, but you said.
No, I just wanted to shout him out too, just because, like you said, a great movement shooter. I just think, honestly, he's kind of turned into a scorer for real, and I think he's great at just attacking closeouts. He's a very, very good passer too. I didn't expect that whatsoever too. So I just think bro's an overall complete player. I watched a few Pistons games last year, and he had some moments like here and there, but it was never really consistent. So I think he's definitely found an identity and a home here. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought he was thinking about not even playing in the NBA no more this summer. So I mean, I think him being a nice crown jewel is good for us.
Dive in, K. I wanted to mention, when it comes to Simone, like I just want to mention a quick little nugget someone mentioned on Twitter. It's the fact that somebody actually mentioned the fact that KD wanted Simone some way, somehow on Phoenix at one point. Like that just goes to show that game recognizes game. Like, so some of the best players in this league would want to play with a guy like Simone, and you mentioned it, Kev, and Kate, you mentioned the fact that it shouldn't be viewed as like a throw-in, in that deal for Duncan. Because like a lot of people looked at that and they're like, dang, a guy like Duncan, so much value in a guy like him, and all you were able to get back in return was Simone Fontecchio, right? Some people I know on social media didn't even care enough to even get his last name right because they're like, bro, this dude ain't even gonna be like that anyways, because you'll respect a player like if you know that they can hoop, right? So if they don't got a good game, you feel that way, you're not gonna take the time to remember their last name whatsoever. So I've seen people make fun of his last name all during the summer, talking about fun Cheerios and all that other stuff. Nah, they know his last name now. It's Simone Fontecchio, and now they out here praising this dude nonstop because they know what he brings to this team. And shout out to him on that huge block he had on Miles Bridges. I didn't know he could get up like that. So by all means, I love Duncan, and it's a shame that he ain't on the team no more. Even worse that we ended up losing that game to Cleveland in his honor by losing by 55. But shoot, bro, like it's always gonna be love, dog. But I'm so happy with Simone. And Kay, you were gonna mention something real quick.
Yeah. To Kev's point, I didn't watch a ton of Detroit, but watched enough to know that he was decent. But he also had a tendency to cook us. And then it speaks to the Miami Heat, that thing about them where they find them. Yes, there was a point I had read that too, Kev, where he had considered playing in Italy or somewhere, Spain or somewhere. But Euroball in the Olympic circuit, I've read the reports where they was like Spodem saw him, have been seeing him, and that's why they wanted him. Like I said, people treated it like a throw-in, but no, when in the Duncan deal, they literally sought out Fontecchio, and I mean, kudos to them, man. I like his game, and he competes all around. Like he competes on both sides, whether people want to admit it or not. And of course, he's gonna have mistakes because when you're playing Miami Heat basketball for the Miami Heat and the way we watch it as fans, because like the standard that's been set. Like we see it when you have lapses, but we also got to realize a lot of these guys come from places where they weren't expected to do the things they're expected to do on a night-to-night, a possession-to-possession basis. And I'm just impressed with how fast he's been able to pick it up, man. Shout out to him.
Right. So with that being said, now let's focus on the two main guys that's on our squad right now, right? Bam and Tyler. And we know Bam's been out for a bit. He's been dealing with a sprained toe, I believe, right? He is rumored to be coming back probably for this game tomorrow against Golden State. Meanwhile, there's one guy specifically who has not played this season, and that's none other than Tyler. And he's expected to come back in like 1 or 2 weeks from today. So, that's good to hear. And when you look at the squad, the thing that I think stands out the most is the fact that we've been doing what we're doing despite not being 100%. And one of the concerns that I know people have is, okay, well, when this guy comes back, will the squad keep up the same energy, right? When Tyler comes back, will the offense remain the same? When Bam, well, I don't think we really had too much concerns with Bam because he actually got to play this year. But specifically with Tyler, right? I think it's safe to say, can we still see this team perform at a high level like what they've been doing so far? So with that all being said, when we look at this team, when everyone is 100%, right? No injuries whatsoever, what do you guys think this team can be able to accomplish? And do you think throwing in a Tyler or, Bam both together, do you think any of that could potentially disrupt the offense by any means? Like, how y'all feel? And we'll start off with you, Kay.
I think they're gonna be better. I mean, you add another dude who but it's not. Of course, look, I put it to you like this: when you got a dude who could when you got a dude who could shoot, it don't matter if he's shooting like, you know what I'm saying, an air pistol, a BB gun, a sniper's rifle. It don't matter. He could shoot. Like, so it's like this Miami Heat system, it's a dude that can shoot. So it's like when you give the person that's an expert better tools to execute with, it's only going hands. So the Miami Heat have been executing at a high level offensively with the pieces that they had. Might I add, all of these guys have improved or gotten better. There's only one dude that we could poo-poo on, but we got an excuse and we got all season to do that. And I'm tossing Kev a lot, but that's neither here nor there. Like this offense, like they've been excelling with guys that have improved, really good pieces. We're talking Norman Powell, we're talking Wiggins, who could be more consistent, but has found his offense. That mid-range jumper from either corner, I mean, that's his shot. He loved that shot. A step inside the three-point line. DeMar DeRozan special. But I mean, just like, so when you add a guy like Tyler, and of course Bam coming back, and not to mention what Bam's absence and Tyler's absence has allowed for other guys to grow, because that's a dynamic that I'm interested in seeing too. Like now with Kellel taking a step that he's taken in the last couple of games after being challenged furthermore, and then the perfect scenario was the back-to-back Knicks game, having to play Mitchell Robinson twice. Like, okay, he ate your lunch the first game. Then you have an immediate opportunity, like perfect scenario, by the way. But just seeing that whole thing, it's like, no, they're going to be better. I mean, you getting the man a sports car. One thing, look, you can say what you want about Tyler Herro. Arms might be short. Y'all seen the commercial. A little fragile at times, might be a little emotional. Whatever you want to say about it. I'm not saying I feel that way. Whatever you want to say about him. One thing you cannot say about the dude is that he can't score the ball. The boy can score. So as long as, the defense don't fall off a cliff, which I don't expect it to, because the guys around them are there for a reason. And I expect Tyler to continue to, like, he's never going to be a stopper. He may never be a plus defender, but physically he's gotten bigger, and you can see that through all the photos and visuals that he's put out, commercial, whatever. So that's going to help his defense. But as long as the defense don't totally fall off the cliff, they're going to get better because they got another sniper.
Right. Okay, Kev, how about you?
I mostly agree. I don't think I'm too worried about Tyler getting inserted into this, is because I think it would be very tough for any one player to ruin what they got going right now, just based on the fact that they play, like I said earlier, and like we all have watched.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. We all endured last year. Don't say that. Don't say that.
That was our franchise player.
I'm just messing with you.
Don't make me go off on the defense right now. But with this team, at least, staking on the 2025-2026 Miami Heat, I think it'll be tough for one player to walk into this current situation and completely tear down the locker room, like 22 did, even though, we'll talk about him in a second, or the old 22, I guess now. But for me, I'm not too worried about Tyler. I think if there were any concerns, I think it'd be based on him potentially playing for his next contract. But I don't think he should look at it like that because, if anything, I mean, the Miami Heat have given Tyler Herro more leeway than a lot of players to just be themselves in every role in every capacity. And so, if I'm him, I mean, again, I keep saying he should be watching and studying Norm Powell as tough as he possibly can because I think that's like. I don't want to say the ceiling of Tyler. I think Tyler can be better than what Norm Powell is, but just from an efficiency and being effective and knowing how to find your shots within the flow of the offense, I think if Tyler can ever be like that, it takes his game to an entirely different level, whether it's in Miami or whether it's anywhere else, in the NBA. But overall, I think that should be fine. I think Spo and the staff have talked to him plenty of different times about where he can pick and choose his spots throughout the flow of the offense. I say the one concern that I have, and I mentioned it to Joe before we started, is probably just seeing how Jaime's role slightly gets impacted with less shots. I think Jaime is playing on a heater right now. I think we've seen in multiple games that you can put the ball in his hands in crunch time moments, clutch situations, and he can go make plays. I don't think it's going to fall off drastically with Tyler, but I just know, again, 1, 2, and 3 is Tyler, Norm, Bam, in whatever order you want to make that out to be on any given night. But, I mean, outside of that, I think they'll be fine, bro. Spo will make it work. Staff will make it work. And hopefully Tyler will make it work for himself because I think he has to, and I think he will.
Right.
See, you're looking at distribution, not to cut you off, Joe. You're looking at distribution, Kev, which is fair. I think that because you're going to have to throw so much more attention at Tyler when he's on the floor, it's going to become so much easier for everybody else that the efficiency is naturally going to go up, which is going to account for maybe one less shot per night, in my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because Jaime getting doubled right now. You know what I'm saying? They throwing doubles at Jaime at a certain point. You're not going to be able to do that with one of Tyler or Norm or hell, even Bam always on the court. And then if Ware keep balling like he balling, I mean, are you going to be able to double anybody truly?
Probably not.
Shoot. I mean, looking at this squad, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I kind of get excited when I look at our team because, I mean, you look at what we got. I'm not going to say anything crazy because, you know what? I used to say a lot of stuff back when the original 22 was here and things would end up falling apart. And
he made us delusional, man. Rightfully so. He made us delusional. He did a lot of delusional stuff that he wasn't supposed to be able to do. So that was fair because we watched him do stuff that he wasn't supposed to be able to do.
Right. And like I look at this squad now, and I mean, with the way, and we said it before, the East is just so weak right now that anything is possible. And I'm not going to mention any ideas of what I think the Heat could do once everyone is healthy. But shoot, man, I'm not going to suggest anything. I'm going to bite my tongue and not say anything because I don't want to look back at this and like be upset if anything ends up happening. God forbid if anything will. But shoot, I think they could do something really special. I won't specify it, like I said before, but by all means, man, I really feel like once everyone's back together and we could get, everyone acclimated in a certain way, like by all means, this could be a really special season. And, I want to use this time real quick because there's so many players that we can mention on the squad that's been pulling up, doing their thing on a nightly basis. And, we can't talk about everyone because we're trying to be in and out with this, right? So I just want to ask y'all, like looking at this squad specifically, is there a certain player that y'all think that y'all want to give the title of being our Spotlight Heat Player of the Week? If y'all have been watching this pod for a minute, we used to do this in the past. We bringing it back for this episode. Kev, how about you, man? Like, who is your Spotlight Heat Player of the Week? Like, who do we got to give flowers to?
Are we just basing it off this Knicks game?
Right. I would say let's be fair and answer the question, Kev. In the last, if we're gonna go a week, from last Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the
like,
case.
I really want to give people their flowers, like not only just from last game, but like guys we just don't be mentioning like that.
Hold on, wait a minute now. What are you asking that? Because that confused me again, Joe. What are you asking? Are you saying you want us to give guys because it's called the Spotlight Player of the Week? So whenever we do it, I would think it's
spotlight episode for this pod. So like, you know what? More so like that. Just throw.
I like Spotlight Player of the Week. Can we do that? I just want to see where Kevin's going with it. Okay, where you gonna go with it?
My answer really wasn't going to change. My answer wasn't going to change at all, to be honest with you. I just wanted to clarify just in case. But
okay,
I'm going with Drew Smith. I think you know, Drew Smith has been really solid, bro. And I don't think he's really got enough flowers because we're talking about a dude that got a lot of hate for the last year. A dude that, you know, injuries. We're talking about a dude and he in front of has complete faith in him to do things. And I think Drew Smith got to play tremendous. I think in that win last night, only 15, but it was impactful. He had a lot of crucial buckets throughout the course of that game. And so he's been a solid, steady presence, especially being essentially a backup point guard to Davion. So I really want to give Drew Smith his flowers because I know not too many people are going to do that. And he's really just been playing a solid brand of basketball. I mean, he's taking shots, again, through the flow of the offense. He's getting stops. He's picking up full court. He's communicating. He's making sure everybody's in their right spot. So I definitely want to give Drew Smith his flowers again because there's been a lot of dirt thrown in his name, some of it justifiably, some of it not. But for the most part, I think, you know, one of the bigger testaments about this team is dudes like him stepping up to the plate when, again, he's another dude where his role has changed a billion different times. And he's kind of just stayed the course. And, again, he's gone through hell and back on injuries, but now he's fully healthy. And he's starting to find himself and he's starting to find his stride. And I think it's not too big of a drop-off going from Davion to him. And a lot of teams can't say that, you know, when it comes to they starting point guard to their backup point guard. So I definitely want to give Drew Smith his flowers because he's been a solid, you know, steady presence off that bench.
Right. And real quick, I just want to throw in there, like, because he's been through a lot when you talk about Drew Smith. I mean, a torn ACL, torn Achilles, like, he's been through the ringer. And first of all, big ups to the Heat, the fact that they even took a chance on this dude, because I don't know how much teams would be willing to take a risk on a guy like that unless it's like a superstar caliber player, you know, a guy that has shown that they can be a star when they're completely healthy, right? So for Miami to still have this much investment where they still brought him back yet again and gave him another chance, despite all these hurdles he had to deal with, despite all these setbacks. I mean, you know, not only to Drew, but I got to give my props to the Heat front office as a whole because they could have easily just, you know, let him work his way up through the G League and maybe take a flyer on him sometime in the future. But they clearly saw something in him that we as fans didn't. And some people I know would say on social media, like, oh, like, does Drew Smith have something on the front office that we don't know about? Like, how does he keep getting these new contracts? Well, we're seeing it, you know? So I got to give, you know, the front office their props too, because they saw something that we as fans didn't. And Kay, how about you?
I mean, I was going to just basically echo a lot of what you guys said, just to comment on Drew Smith really quick. I wouldn't even say, like, you know, rightfully so, or fairly having dirt thrown in his name is even appropriate, Kev, because it's like every time he's, you know, come back on the floor, you know, he's gotten hurt, of course, but before he's gotten hurt, he's shown you exactly why Spo was brought him back. And to your point, I think right now he's one of the straws that stirs the drink on, you know, one of that league leading bench unit. Of course, we're looking at it from an offensive perspective, but they wreak havoc defensively, especially him just getting there with his help defense, the raking always being where he's supposed to be, putting his nose in there. And then the offensive end, he's actually, you know, playing in the floor of the offense amazingly. He's taking guys off the dribble. He's nailing his open shots. He's distributing, helping guys get in place. I mean, I applaud that. I can't knock that selection at one bit because honestly, Drew, like, relative to his role, you know, that whole be a star in your role thing, like, he's balling. In his role, he is balling, absolutely flat out balling. Look, man, just to keep it on, that's why I stuck so hard with, like, okay, what are we doing? The spotlight player of the week for me has to be Kelly Ware. I mean, just like what he's done in that Cleveland series, the challenge, you know, he got challenged in the Knicks series, the way he was able to bounce back. Like I said, man, the growth we've seen from him in the short time that Bam has been out and his week has been out and what he's been asked to do and physically, you know, being able to execute and seeing it happen and us literally being able to watch his motor grow from game to game. Just do things that he hadn't been doing as recently as last week. He has to be the player of the week. And like I said, man, I'm just so excited to see. I want to see him continue to play this way, but beside that, point blank period. I don't know no other way to say it. Maintain that effort, maintain that want to. Like, if you go get Bam boys, like, do all of that. Like, I just want to see this because it'll allow Bam to be able to do so much more.
Right. And I have two names that I want to mention. One of them isn't a player, which is why
Didn't you tell us we can't go on and on and on? Hey, you gonna get up here and say you got 2 names?
Well,
Boy,
my bad. 'Cause one of
boy.
my picks is more so a technicality. Like, it ain't even a player. Like, I just want to acknowledge the person real quick. But before I mention him, let me make my actual selection, right? My actual selection, I'm gonna say, is Jaime, simply because it was hell last year, bro. Like, I was gassing this dude up nonstop on social media during his rookie year. But then that sophomore slump comes around and everyone's like, oh, well, look at Cam Whitmore, what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Like, all that allegations we beat in that first season just all of a sudden just came back to life his second year in Miami. And I hated it, bro. Because, like, I really thought we made it out the trenches just to end up being back in there. So for him to just come out this year and just shine and show everyone that he's still capable of being a star, capable of being, like, what we would call a Mexican Jimmy Butler, I'm happy to see it, because that lets me know that at least I still put investment into the right type of dude in the first place. I wasn't crazy for saying all this stuff. None of us were, because we were all high in the Jaime bandwagon. Like, none of, like, we were right in the long term. That's all I can really say about it. And I'm happy because he overcame all the allegations, some crazy rumors too that was going out that we're not going to provide any comments on. Despite all of that chaos, even with the turmoil that happened last year in that locker room, Jaime still came out this season, and you can make an argument he can be sixth man of the year. Will he end up winning it? I don't know, especially once everyone is fully healthy, because Kev, you mentioned it. We don't know what everything is going to be like once everyone is back on the squad 100%. But I really hope he can get it, and maybe he can, depending on how the team does as a whole as well. Perhaps maybe it goes to someone like the guy in OKC, AJ Mitchell. Is that how you pronounce it? His first name. Okay, like maybe he gets it because they
You're gonna
got
have a hard time bringing that boy off the court, even when J-Dub come back. You're gonna have a hard time keeping that boy off the court.
Yeah. Like overall, man, like, if he wins it, that's awesome. But if not, man, the dude is a hooper this year. And I just gotta acknowledge him. And real quick, my second choice. This isn't a player like I mentioned before, but I do want to give props to Pat Riley real quick, simply because, one guy we mentioned a lot in this episode is Norman Powell. And I've been kind of critical on Pat Riley for some time. But, I try to keep it low key. So, I think not a lot of people.
You gotta be fair. You kind of been
I
high
don't know
key.
about that, man.
You kind of been high. You've been high key the last couple of years. Let's not act like you ain't got on and said some real flagrant things about Patrick James Riley. I'm just saying.
That, bro. Like, I want to say that.
You've called him old man and said fire, but you've said some of those. But that's neither here nor there. It's okay.
No, y'all capping right now. You capping right now. Okay, I don't vibe with that. But, like, listen, bro, it is what it is, bro.
Oh no, that was in the group chat. My bad.
I don't know. My phone must have been hacked or something, bro. That type of stuff be happening. But listen, man, Pat Riley, I gotta give him his props, because you know what? My value on him had been kind of low these past couple off seasons, but probably the biggest acquisition, one of the biggest acquisitions, not only for the Heat, but maybe in the league this summer, was basically us acquiring a potential all-star this season in Norman Powell for basically a bag of chips. Like,
Obama was out here fleecing the league, and Pat was out here fleecing him. You gotta love it.
Like, we got this dude for the corpse of Kevin Love in slow-mo. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. No first round picks, none of that given. And I knew that this trade was a win for the Heat, simply because of the fact that it wasn't like the Terry Rozier deal where it's like, okay, we gave up a first round pick for this dude and it might bite us in the butt. Like, nah. We gave this dude up for practically nothing. It's just a matter of how much did we win this trade by, which we were going to find out once this season started and seeing how he's played. And now he is in all-star conversations. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than this.
And it's double dumb for the Clippers because, like, they traded him effectively as a salary dump and then turn around and got nefarious to give Kawhi $25 more. If you was going to do $25 million more, if you was going to do that anyway, then you go to Norm too and be like, look, your deal going to say 5, but we got you. Ask Kawhi, we got you. So it's just double dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not only that, but, like, I don't know. My thinking of this isn't, like, too logical, so maybe this isn't the way how they thought it, but I think like the Clippers, they basically got rid of Norman because they saw Bradley Beal was going to be available, and it's like, okay, you got a hooper like him who you could probably get on like a $5 million contract compared to Powell, who you probably have to throw an extension to. So they saw that and was like, okay, we'll get rid of Norman in this deal for John Collins, and then we'll just bring in Bradley Beal to like, fill in that type of scoring that Powell provided. And look how that bit them in the rear, because now Beal is out for the season, right? So it's just all not looking good for the Clippers. And I hate it because we mentioned OKC earlier, and guess who got the Clippers first round pick this year? Like, it doesn't get any more insane than this, bro. Like, honestly speaking. So shout outs to Pat Riley, man, because like I said, I've been a little too critical of him, in the past, but he definitely earned his flowers for this one. And shout outs to him because, like I said, probably the biggest fleece of the summer. Nah, actually it was, because I can't name anything else aside from what we saw in February with Nico Harrison, but that wasn't in the offseason. So
How about that one a fleece though? That was collusion.
Yo, that's true too. And I
mean, he got his partner to do him a solid on his way out. Like, that's what that was. Like, you can't, like, nobody is that ignorant to see what that was. Like, it was like, look, man, we trying to get up off this AD money. Luka over there. Well, I mean, they probably gonna fire me anyway. Just sold the team. What's up? I got you. And that's how that happened. He gonna have a job with them after a while. I bet you he'd be working for the Lakers or for one of their subsidiaries before long. Promise you.
Listen, man. I mean, we could talk about that whole trade for an hour, basically. But man, like, I don't know. If he does end up working for the Lakers one day, I feel like Dallas has to like take that to court or something. Because
absolutely, we're gonna do a show. Our first Bits Game break of the year gonna be NBA conspiracies and a little bit of heat. Coming soon.
Okay. I'll rock with that. But
I think 4 and 5 the same topic, man. I think 4 and 5 here is the same topic.
So yeah, so because of that, let's now dive into, basically kind of our final topic for the day. And that's none other
Speaking of conspiracies.
The fact that we are now getting ready for this game against Golden State tomorrow, and we are going to be reunited by a familiar friend. And that's none other than the OG 22, who now goes by 10, Jimmy Butler III. And man, I mean, it's been crazy, right? Because 5.5 years really went by like that. It felt like just the summer 2019 was yesterday when I first found out we was getting the dude. And everything that's happened since, bro, like, it was special. And I don't want to just keep on yapping about Jimmy because it's getting kind of late where I'm at.
It sounds like you cut the umbilical cord, man. Jesus Christ. It was like fall of 2019. The air was crisp and winter was not. Go ahead, man.
No,
he gone.
Listen, bro. Like, y'all gotta understand where I'm coming from, dog. Like, it's still a fresh wound, but listen, man. I want to yap about this too long because I'm in my patio right now and it's getting dark. So like, I'm starting to look more and more darker because of this. But listen, man. I'm just. When I look back at Jimmy's time in Miami, bro, it's a lot of great memories. And I got a lot to say about that, but I want to slide the mic to you guys because, we all got to witness this together, right? So, Kay, like, when you look at Jimmy's time in Miami, his legacy that he's left behind here, like, what does that look to you? Like, what does the number 22 mean to you when you think about what Jimmy was able to do during his time here?
I'm gonna be respectful, and Kev's smirking because he don't know where I'm going with this. But nah, I mean, like I said, I respect the brother for what he did because like he did a lot of stuff that he shouldn't have been able to do. I mean, point blank period. It was an amazing player. Like, was he underserved talent wise? That could be argued. I don't disagree with it. That notion at all. I'm also not about doing bad deals, so we're not gonna argue that into oblivion as we did for 3 or 4 years. But yeah, man, the man did some amazing things. The way he left hurt me though. So I'm like, I can't ever see myself feeling the same way, but I gotta be respectful and honest. The man did some amazing things with the Miami Heat. I can't wait to cook his britches tomorrow though.
All right. Kev, how about you?
Are we just sticking on Jimmy right now, or are we still previewing the game?
Just Jimmy right now. We'll get into it.
Yeah. As far as Jimmy goes, I'll say, in my opinion, I think he's quite easily a top 5 Miami Heat player of all time. I think when we look back in history, yeah, to me, he's 3. I think obviously 3 is 1, 6 is 2, and 22 is 3. And you can make a case, for others up there, but that's how I look at it. But nonetheless, I mean, first of all, it's a lot of stars in the NBA right now. It's very few stars that ever lead their franchise to the NBA Finals, let alone winning it, let alone doing it multiple times, even though we fell short. So I'll never take that for granted because getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, no matter what they say, no matter how bad they say the East is not easy, even though we knocked off Giannis and Jason Tatum both times to get there. So I'll always take pride in that. And that we didn't duck nobody. We went through the best of the best to get to where we needed to get to. And again, even though we fell short, I always love those runs. The regular season wins is cool. They're nice. They're all, cool. Like, I enjoy them. Don't get it twisted. But for me, I like playing later in the season when not everybody else's teams are playing. And I think he did that to a T. And it wasn't always fun to watch in the regular season. It really wasn't. But when it came time to actually win, you knew he was going to show up every time, 9 times out of 10. And so I never took that for granted. And he's on the other side now, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think, at the end of the day, it worked out for all sides and all parties involved. And to me, he'll always be a legend. Hopefully one day they put his jersey up there where it needs to be in American Airlines. I'm not calling it the current name that it is right now. It's like out here how people call it crypto. It's called Staples Center. But nonetheless, he a legend in my eyes. He'll always be a legend in my eyes. I'm not letting a 2 month span of turmoil completely downplay 6 great years of high-level basketball. So overall, it was a great run. It'll always be immortalized for me and my fandom. People could say, but they didn't win it. But, sometimes that's just what it's all about. It's just about competing at the highest level. And I think even when you look at this past season in the playoffs or last season in the playoffs, the Indiana Pacers, they didn't win it, but that fan base is going to remember those runs for the rest of eternity, no matter what anybody says, going to Game 7 in the NBA Finals and running through the East. So, I just think that's what it's all about. When the whole world gets a chance to watch your team playing on the highest of stages. And I love going into Boston and knocking off Boston and quiet in TD Garden. I love going to Madison Square Garden and shutting up Knicks fans like Joe mentioned at the start of the show. So, it's fun to do that. So, shout out to 22. Yeah, man, he's one of them ones, and he'll always be one of them ones.
Man, you're about to smiles, because seriously, dog. Man, I'm not trying to make this too dramatic or anything, because I feel like I already did when I first started off this topic. But man, Jimmy Butler, bro. And I mean, you said it yourself, Kev. I'm not going to let the final 3 or so months, try to derail what his legacy was in Miami, because no matter what, and anyone who's watched previous episodes of this pod knows this, Jimmy put so much, the things that he did come postseason time was just so insane that you couldn't help but believe this team would win a championship regardless of what the Heat would do or not do in the offseason, right? We did not get Damian Lillard in 2023. We're not going to get into all of that stuff. But shoot, despite the fact that we didn't get him, I think people got to understand, I still thought they could win a championship, bro. I was still on here saying the Heat going to win a championship some way, somehow. That's how much belief you had in a guy like 22. And it's why I just don't know, bro. It's I wish him the best. But man, I look back at his time in Miami, bro. It's so hard to let go. And I got to, because I got root for my squad. I got to move on, focus on our squad. But man, them years in Miami was so special, bro. And if y'all watch this pod throughout them Jimmy years, man, y'all know what I'm talking about. The way I was feeling, that 56-point game against Memphis, we literally did a pod right after that game, because that was how insane that performance was. My soul felt like it was on fire watching that, bro. I never felt so proud to be a Heat fan until Jimmy did that. And I knew that when Jimmy came here, he was going to help this team compete, and I was happy about that. But I did not think it was possible for someone to just come in here, because I got to have Dwayne Wade. I got to see LeBron play, but I never thought I was going to see someone come in here and actually take my love for the Miami Heat and take that to a whole other level. But 22 did that, And it's because of that reason I can never hate, bro. When it comes to all the discourse I see on social media, y'all can say whatever y'all want about how all that went. I think there's faults on both sides of the party, which is why I won't really comment on that. But when I look back from 2019 to 2025, I see nothing but beautiful memories, stuff that I'm going to cherish and, tell my future children about, when they become Heat fans themselves, because that's how special them runs were. We might not have, the championship banners that I really wanted to see hung up, but man, I'm just so proud of what, he was able to accomplish here. And salute to 22. I can't call you 10. It's like what you were saying, Kev, about, not calling the Heat Arena, whatever it's called now. But shoot, you ain't 10 in my book, Jimmy. You always gonna be 22. And thank you for everything you did, bro. I ain't gonna look at what happened, how it ended. All I can say is thank you for everything from 2020 all the way till then. Making it to the finals, doing it again. It's not easy, because if you look at that, I'm going to say this and then wrap it up, because, we've been out here for a minute now. If you look at that 2019 offseason, you look at the moves that happened that year. So many blockbuster moves. But when you look at the impact those moves had all these years later, aside from AD going to the Lakers because that won them a championship, Jimmy to Miami was basically the most impactful move, because look at it. Paul George and Kawhi, they won nothing. Okay, they couldn't even make it to the finals. They couldn't do that once while they was together. KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn, what happened there? Nothing. You look at what other moves happened. Kemba to the Celtics, ended up being a disaster. So many moves you can mention that summer that did not pan out to what Jimmy on the Heat ended up being. And it ended up being straight magic, bro. Like, that's why, shout out to you, 22. I can't keep rambling like this because it's going to take 2 hours to finish this. With that being said, man, we going into this game tomorrow against Golden State. We got to play against 22, now 10. Steph Curry, Draymond, and all them. And I do want to know, what's y'all's expectations, and do y'all see the Heat rolling out with the dub? We'll start off with you, Kay.
I expect the Warriors to sit most of their star players, but I do expect the Heat to win because they got Orlando tonight, and it's the perfect excuse.
All right. And then, Kev, how about you?
I expect to win. I think it'll be a pretty good game. I think Jimmy will play, honestly. I think he has that pettiness in his heart.
He do, but Kerr mentioned today that they had, I know y'all probably saw that quote, but he was like, it's the craziest schedule he's ever had, how like they've been in 19 different cities. Yeah. So like I think he's setting himself up, bro.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, I have watched a few of their games. They haven't, I feel like they played the most games of anybody in the league so far. But I know they played San Antonio twice last week. I think they played the Pelicans like Sunday night.
And they got Orlando tonight.
Yeah, so they have been playing a lot. Like I said, I feel like every night I turn on the TV, they playing. But overall, though, yeah, I expect us to win the game. I think, like Kay said, depending on who plays, I mean, obviously that's going to change a lot, but I'll just go with, I don't know. I'll go with the fact that they will play for now. And you're going to have to look out for a few different players. Obviously, you're going to have to look out for him because you just know he could beat you without even scoring. Steph is a given. I don't even think we got to touch on him, but Will Richard, as a rookie, has been stepping in real well for them. A lot of people down in South Florida know about him. He won a national championship with the Gators earlier this year, so he's been a very solid. I think he went second round. I could be mistaken, but he's been very solid for them. So, they've been playing some good ball. I know, they kind of started the season off hot, and they went into like a little slide, losing some games. Kuminga was playing well for a minute too. I don't know what's going on with that situation, but he's kind of, reverted back to his old ways. But they're going to be a good test. They run a very potent offense, as we all know. They get up and down, maybe not as much as we get up and down, but they know how to get up and down too. But I expect us to win. I think our defense will win out. Then we'll get some key stops. And I expect it to be a close game. I just think it's going to come down to a few things, like who takes care of the ball, who can rebound. Hopefully, we do what we're supposed to do on the boards, because I think it's a clear size mismatch for us. So I think the good guys get a win tomorrow.
Right.
I agree. I think the pace take over, like you said, Kev, but last to the close. Yeah, Jimmy is petty. He's petty enough to not play. Like, seriously. That's what I think is petty leading to do. But everything you said, I agree with, if they do play. If they don't play, that might be an even more challenging task for the Heat, because, you know what I'm saying? We know how they go.
Yeah, because we saw that game against Cleveland with everyone out, like still didn't work in our favor. But, I'm on the same boat as y'all. I think the Heat will find a way to win. If they do play, of course. And if they don't, well, all I can say is hopefully they learn from that Cleveland trap game and, take care of business. Because, come on, we can't lose to another shorthanded team like that, So learn from from the mistakes in that Cleveland game and go from there. And after we do beat Golden State, Jimmy will dap up everyone. Everyone gonna have a good time, and we make our amends and go from there. So a great ending to that.
Like I know that is not gonna happen.
Listen, K.
Whether he play or not, he walking right off the court. Like he gonna put his towel over his head and he walking right off the court.
He gonna dap up Jovic, I guarantee it.
Yeah, that he might do because them two is like brothers, man. He had his photo in the lot. I can't do this, bro. I'm gonna. Like I said, we're gonna keep
wrap it up, man.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all, with that being said, man, thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's episode, man. We cannot wait to see how this game goes tomorrow. Make sure to follow Kev on Twitter and my guy K. Kev on Twitter is Kev Luke THA the Great. And K is on Twitter at K_said_K. Me on Twitter at Joel K Jacob _. Follow all of us. And make sure to follow Heat vs. the World on all platforms at HVTW Podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if y'all watching this on YouTube. And with that being said, man, we're going to continue enjoying this season, man. Whether if we got, our OG 22 or, Andrew Wiggins 22, it don't matter, man. We still going to have a good time. And with that being said, man, life goes on, right? So with that being said, y'all, we going to enjoy the season, the goods and the bads, and yeah, so thank y'all for tuning in and hit my music because we out.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time with a brand new episode of the Heat vs. the World Podcast.